So I just wanted to comment on Serendipity's community post here, and I'm not gonna rag on her. She didn't come at me about my son too much. She did put up some things that her buddy thought her buddy created. But now that I'm sitting on the side, like as the Laundries, where my son committed his heinous crime. And when he first committed the crime, and they were kind of looking for him for a day or so, I didn't say much except for that I thought he was guilty, and I posted as such that I felt like he was guilty. And then people said, you might not want to say anything about this because we don't know yet what's going on. He hadn't been to court, and so then I started to get quiet. I wouldn't say anything, and as I was being quiet, my family was being quiet, like the Laundries were. People were saying stuff. We were getting messages, and people coming by the house, and every time we were out, people would say stuff at us, harassing us about what our son did, or brother, cousin, niece, nephew, my whole family. People knew us, and they would say stuff. And at first, I would just ignore it, like the Laundries were doing. They ignored it. They didn't come outside to the protesters. They didn't say anything, and they're still being told, "Well, you raised this. You raised a murderer. You're blah 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 blah." They were held accountable for something that some other person did. Doesn't matter whose loins they came from. They were held accountable for it. And in their silence, they were still picked apart by people. Granted, their situation is a bit different because he did come home without her, and he had to have told them something about where she could be and why he's got her car and she's not with him. That part of it, I understand. They should have spoke. They should have spoke. But the parts where people were saying, well, he was raised by these people and they're bad people because they raised a person like this, that part I didn't necessarily agree with at all. The part that where protesters were saying, you need to speak, yeah, I agree with that. I stand behind that. They should still speak because he told them something when he came back. They should give the Petito family that closure of what did he say when he came back as to why she wasn't with him. He had to have told them something. So where's Gabby at? And he just says nothing? When they're asking him where's Gabby at, and he just says no, he told them. He told them what happened. Or he either made up a story and said, well, we broke up and I just left her. Or, yeah, when she told me she wanted to leave me, I strangled her. He told them either one of those stories, and they didn't speak. I kind of feel, I feel how the Laundries feel, except for the fact that they didn't speak, because I spoke. When the news came to my house, because that's what they do, the news finds out your address and they come to your house. I spoke. And my statement was, I love my son, but I don't love what he may have done, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And if this is what he has done, then he needs to face justice. That's what I said on the news. But down under here in her comments, and see, I totally agree with this, where she says, protesting for injustice answers is one thing, but there's no benefit now, since he's not here to stand trial. Right, and Molly has already said that. She's already said, well, he's gone, so there's nothing more we can do. But support the Petito family. I totally agree with Sarah's statement here, but some of the comments under it. The hindsight is someone who's gave me a little crap. I am not at all joking when I say she sounds so crazy right now I can't even listen anymore. Talking about he's not really dead. The protesters win. Karma to his family. See, that's, the karma to his family. I don't agree with that. That's people who have someone in their family who does something like that. They suffer enough without other people picking at them. Except for the fact that they didn't speak. Now, and when she says he's not dead, well, the FBI has said that he's gone, and they've identified through dental records that that's him. But the FBI has also lied to us before, so we just don't know. We live in a government situation that we can't trust everything they say, so we just don't know. But I personally believe that that's him, and from the get-go, from like day one, somebody said, "What do you think happened to him?" I said, "Well, he's offed himself. He's gone. I think he can't live with himself." I don't think that they had a huge domestic violence issue. I don't think there was a history of domestic violence with them. She lived with him for 2 years, and there's never any other incident that anyone has spoke of. I think that they were having a fight. And if you listen to both of the witnesses that called in, the officer called him back, and he said he didn't see him hitting her. He said it seemed like they were kind of play fighting. She was trying to get in the car. She said she was the aggressor. Brian said she was the aggressor, and one of the witnesses said she was the aggressor. I don't think that I think that situation with him being pulled over was treated just exactly how it should have been. Okay, you guys are having a little bicker. Let's separate you for a day. All right? But then other people put their noses into it. And there were a couple people who said, well, you should leave him. You should leave him. Because they had a little bicker. She was smacking on him, and he pushed her off. She was throwing a fit, and he put himself in the car, and he was telling her, you need to calm down, which is what a guy should do. If a female's throwing a fit, they should just kind of, back away from her for a minute. He locked himself in the van, and she was trying to get in, and she actually did get in, and she climbed over him. All right, and people driving by, I think they miscalculated that whole situation. It was a bicker, because sometimes when you get out traveling, me and Nicole have done some traveling, sometimes when you get out, you get a little frustrated. And that's what it was. I think he got a bad rap on that situation, because the cops clearly listened to what was being told to them by 3 different people, that she was being a little aggressive, and it seemed to me like he was trying to just fend her off, and which is what she said too. So, but I'm not going to hear to make her look bad. But in that day, she stayed away. She talked to some people. They don't say much about the night she spent in the hotel, what her parents or what her family was telling her. But we do know that none of them told her she should leave Brian. It was people out there in the area they were traveling and said, well, you should leave him, you should leave him. And they got into her head, and maybe she told him, we had this fight, maybe we should take a break for a while, which is probably a good idea, so they can reevaluate what's going on, because they had this fight. And maybe they should just reevaluate. And he took it wrong. He took it as she was going to leave him, and he panicked. I think he panicked, and he strangled her. That's what I think happened. And then once he realized what he did, it was too late. I think he lost his temper, his impulse control there. It doesn't justify what he did. I'm just giving my thoughts on how I think it happened. I think he strangled her, and he didn't know what to do after that, so he goes home to mom and dad. He talks to them, and I think he told them what he did. And they were like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to turn yourself in? They weren't going to turn him in. They should have. What are you going to do? And he said, well, I need to just go hike and think this thing over. And I think they were worried that he might kill himself. But at any rate, back to some of these comments. She is taking credit for why they came out. Unbelievable. She knows that she's not the reason why they came out. Who's the last one who spoke in front of their house? Me, that's who. She did. She's not lying there. She's literally delusional, demented, and egotistical. She's so gross. She would try and take credit for it. She didn't take credit for it. She took credit for being the last one, and she took credit for talking to Cassie because that's what she did. She was nothing but a nuisance for that whole community and the police department. The police came out there on several different times for other people. That's when I had to shut it off. Well, that means you was watching. There's nothing but a crazed chat screen. Fuck the family. Well, TNT was part of that with my family. They put up Facebook groups, Facebook pages, and even Tracy family. Fuck the St. John's. St. John's Dayton. Fuck them. Sending me messages about what they're going to do to my son when he was in prison, how he should be burned in hell and all this stuff. We got all that. We got all that. And the difference between me and the Laundries is I fought back. I fought back. And to this day, they say I harassed that family. When it was that family that started out harassing us. Blaming the family of an accused killer is just insane. You notice Sarah doesn't love or like this comment. She'll like these times. Blaming the family of an accused killer is just insane. She was harassed at a point where she had to quit her job and go into the hospital for psych care. I didn't have to quit my job, but they tried to cost me one. And people get mad at me, and that's the first thing they do. Well, here's this son that killed a child, and here's the piece of shit father. Right? These are the same, you know. The parents can't sue MGL because she had the freedom of speech. They can't. They can't sue her. She knows that. That $40 protest isn't going to go anywhere. And this is one of the people that come at me about my case right here with my son. You see, the people have the right to think this type of stuff. I'm not going at them because of their opinions about Molly. Molly does things differently. She did some things that I wouldn't do. But I'll watch her. And I'll support her in most of everything she does. If I had the means or the time to go down there, I would have been outside the Laundries going, hey, you should speak up. That's what I think they should have done, to speak up. If Molly is a tragedy pimp, what are the makers of True Detective magazine? What are the Gray Hughes? What are the Stephanie Harlows? What are the John Hins? What are the many other people that put out true crime cases here? What are they? Are they waiting for a tragedy? I mean, you don't see John Crimes doing cooking videos, do you? Or fishing videos. He does crime and drama. Crime and murder is a tragedy. And when you make money off of it, you are pimping it. Period. But it's all good. I just want people to think about what they say here. And going back to this, remember the parents are not responsible for what he did. They are responsible for what they didn't do, which is speak up in the first place. Peace.